651-646-8255. Let's go to our buddy Ben. Hey, Ben, you're on Van Line.
Hey, Judd. I think in this draft, I think the number one thing is a lot of people criticize. I think some people didn't like the Justin Jefferson pick. He's just an Adam Thielen, 2.0. But the way the offensive system I feel is set up is you need a star running back. They have one in Dalvin Cook. The quarterback you need decent to pretty good tight end. They have that. And you need two pretty good receivers. And I think Justin Jefferson can be a very good receiver. They need a corner. They got that in the back part of the round. So I think they have the idea of winning now. And like you said, I agree. They have assets to trade for Trent Williams. There's no reason for them not to attempt to trade for Trent Williams at this point. But overall, I give them an A. They're clearly methodical with their intentions. And just on a side note, I want to ask you,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really, I guess it may be a twofold question.
Okay.
What are the Packers doing? They had a screaming needed receiver, and they had options available, and they chose a guy who may or may not replace Rodgers. I don't know what they're doing. I guess it's going to be fun.
It's great fun.
Hey, Ben, if you're a Viking fan, I will say that the Green Bay Packers are making you very happy because they took a guy, they traded up last night to take a guy who's going to have no impact for their team in 2020 and probably 21. And now Aaron, much like Brett, is probably going to become defiant. And now Aaron's going to try and stick around probably beyond the time that he should. And he's not a young guy. But the Green Bay Packers did the Vikings, I think, an enormous favor last night by not doing exactly what you said they needed to do because Aaron needs weapons. They had a chance to give him at least one more, and they punted.
Well, and here's the other thing, too. They better hope that Jordan Love is an all-star quarterback because if he's anything less, what was yesterday? April 23rd, 2020? Was the day the Packers became an incompetent franchise and a team because they punted on a year where they went to the NFC Championship game, and it's almost like they're saying, well, we don't really need a receiver, or we need to find an Aaron Rodgers replacement. Yep. He's not going to leave for another 4 years. He's like, $40 million next year?
Yep.
And $30 million the year after that? I don't know. That pick just kind of took me off guard. I was not ready for them to pick a quarterback in the first round.
Thanks, Ben. Yep. You know what? It had been speculated, Dex, that they might, but then to trade up, and I believe they also gave up in that deal with the Dolphins. They gave up a fourth-round pick, but then to trade up and take a quarterback when you looked at their needs, the question becomes, how close is Aaron to being done?
Mm-hmm.
And he's 36, going on 37. It's an interesting fact that the pick that was made last night is 15 years to the day that Aaron Rodgers was picked out of Cal by the Packers, which, of course, made Brett Favre not too pleased. But look at the division. Chicago, no first-round pick. And I don't know, Nick Foles should help them. But I can't. But I can't decide if Chicago's well coached. And I can't decide if Chicago just had one of those nice little spike-up seasons 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly not sold on the Bears. Now, this being said, I understand fully that if you're a Bears fan, Rami, that the Vikings don't win in Chicago. So that's their problem.
That's its own issue.
But I'm not sold on the fact that the Bears are that good. And the Bears didn't have, because they traded it in the Khalil Mack trade, which 2 years ago paid off in a big way.
Yeah.
They traded that to Oakland. Detroit got Jeffrey Okudah, the cornerback out of Ohio State last night, but he straight up replaces Darius Slay. So it's a good pick, but it's not like now it's Slay and Okudah, and oh my gosh, you can't pass against Detroit. That's a good pick, but it replaces a need, which, in the case of Jefferson, the Vikings did too, because Diggs is gone there. And then the Packers. So you don't look around the division from last night if you're the Vikings and say to yourself, look at what Detroit and, oh man, Green Bay got a receiver and Chicago. if you're the Vikings, I think flat out coming out of last night from a divisional standpoint, you are probably absolutely positively thrilled.
I'll say this about Green Bay, and kind of to Ben's point of what the hell are the Packers doing. This definitely helps the Vikings' 2020 chances of being better than the Packers and being the best team in the division. Right now it does.
Mm-hmm.
But we might be laughing at ourselves, and or the story can be flipped on us very quickly in about 3 years when we all made fun of this pick, just like we all made fun of the pick in 2005 for Aaron Rodgers, and it came back to bite him. So, yes, immediately, this was a win for the Vikings.
Did you guys make fun of that pick?
I think people made fun of that pick.
Oh, see, I covered that for the Star Tribune from the Green Bay perspective, and that because Aaron was so high on draft boards, everybody said that's a pretty good pick.
But regardless, I think in the current day, how the 2020 season looks, yes, I think the Vikings may have won the immediate draft need, but in 3 or 4 years, Jordan Love could turn out to be, just like the last 2 Green Bay quarterbacks, the quarterback for the next 20 years with the Packers. So yes, immediately it helps you, but in 3-4 years is probably when we're going to be able to really judge, did they make the right pick or not?
I think if you were going to do that, you should have done my plan, which was trade up as high as possible. And now, in retrospect, this didn't become a possibility probably, but my whole thing was if Tua started to slide, go get a Tua.
Right.
Collar basically said Jordan Love is not that great, that he's a pretender, that he's going to be a big project. And Aaron was a project too at the time. But keep in mind, back in 2005, Alex Smith and Aaron were side by side on that draft board. And we knew, and we didn't know which one, we knew that one of those two was going to go to San Francisco. And the Niners went with Smith, and Rodgers began to fall. I don't remember thinking at that time that they made that pick that, that's really weird, because I don't have a problem with getting the successor to Favre, and I don't have a problem with Aaron Rodgers going on the age of 37 to getting his successor. What I continually don't get from a Packers standpoint, and this is not just about last night, this is about the overall thought process at Lambeau Field going back to Ted Thompson. The amount of times that they have passed up getting help that the Packers need for a quarterback who probably is desperately saying, do something here.
Yeah.
And you just won 13 games. And you would think that now, if Jordan Love was considered a complete stud, I could almost justify this. But you would think that Green Bay could have said, we're going to get a wide receiver here. There's a bunch of them. There's really, it's a really good class. We're going to take one here at let's say they don't trade up, that they stay. I think they were at 30 or something like that. And then we'll take a quarterback on day 3, project guy. And if he develops, fantastic. So again, I think that with the window that the Vikings are operating with, and I don't know that it's going to be a success or not. I don't see after last night this being a Super Bowl team. Now, I think they can get down that road today if they make the right moves. But if you're operating with the window of we're going to try and win the division right now and make a playoff run, and you're the Vikings, essentially everybody in your division last night said, hey, go for it. We'll help you out. Chicago, again, no pick. Green Bay, project pick. Detroit gets a really good player, but that's a straight flip to replace a really good player. And so with the window that the Vikings have with what's going on with Kirk, which is basically 2-3 years.
Mm-hmm.
If Kirk is going to be the guy that entire time, I don't know that for sure, but my guess is that he'll be at least the quarterback for the next 2 years here, is that everybody else did you a solid last night. Everybody else in your division, I should say in the North Division, helped you out last night.
And by the way, as we went down this road about a month ago on Score North Live when I captained the SS Reckless Speculation down the seas of the Midwest.
Hold on.
Yep. Thank
you. Reckless Speculation.
According to our friends at Over the Cap, if Aaron Rodgers is cut post June 1 in 2021 or 2022, it's $14 million in dead money, but cap savings of $22 million in 21 or $25.5 in 2022. It's a lot of dead money, but it's also still gives you a decent amount of cap.
Interesting.
Doesn't sound that crazy now, does it?
My other question is this. Well, you know what? If people had more faith in Love, it doesn't. The problem is your hubris. If you're the Packers, is your hubris so high that you believe that you could develop this guy? Because if you fail, it's big trouble. And it's going to be very interesting because I'm sure that he had a say in the draft pick as well. And this could be good news for Vikings fans too. If Matt LaFleur told the GM, Brian Gutekunst, I can develop this kid, take Jordan Love. Clearly, if that's the case, Rodgers is going to find that out. And what's the reaction they're going to be as well? Because we all know Aaron gets very prickly towards his coaches, and it probably does not take much. And if he's got his head coach saying, yeah, Aaron's really good, but as Collar said, I think he's sort of cooked. And he's going on 37. And you know what, Brian? Let's go take this QB. Aaron's going to find that out very quickly or do the simple math and the deduction of the conversation that was had between coach and GM in Green Bay. Again, if I'm Rick Spielman, if I'm Mike Zimmer, if I'm the Vikings, I am celebrating. I am so
Absolutely.
happy right now because you are creating an environment for me that gives me a chance. And don't forget too, despite the fact that they won 13 games last year, the Green Bay Packers were among the most underwhelming 13-win teams I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
So that was not a legitimate. If the Green Bay Packers slid back like the Bears did in 2000, so the Bears slid back in 2019 after the strong 2018. If the Green Bay Packers slide back in 2020 like the Bears did last year, no one's going to be surprised. No one's going to say, man, you were a 13-win team and you look so good. So 651-646-8255 TCL broadcast studio, 651-646-8255. The show is Viking Vent Line. We're going to talk to our buddy Matthew Collar at the bottom of the hour. Your reaction to the Vikings picks and what might come up. Is there a Trent Williams trade on the horizon?
Oh, yeah.
On day two. Let's listen to what Vikings GM Rick Spielman had to say about the Vikings' first pick at 22 last night, Justin Jefferson, who is going to be expected, I think, to fill the shoes of Stephon Diggs.
I think the biggest thing that kind of lifted him up through this process was you've seen good speed on tape and you've seen the speed after the catch. But when he went and ran into 4.4s at the combine, that just elevated his status more. And the other thing, just a great kid. And when you can add a great talent that's also a great person, we feel very fortunate that he was there at 21.
Justin Jefferson on being picked.
My play style is definitely not unique. A lot of people cannot play both positions. All the coaches knew that I was a smart kid and I was a great football player. So they gave me that opportunity to go into slot and make those big plays. So yeah, definitely just being with Joe and the rest of the guys, connecting with each other and making that light shine bright.
Okay, what's the background from?
That's a good question. It was from our friends at Vikings.com.
Okay.
So
it sounded like a old school
it
video
was
game of
very
some sort.
NHL 94, very Sega Genesis, SNES, Super Nintendo vibes there. I think the interesting thing about Jefferson, especially like comparing it to the Treadwell pick, was Stephon Diggs in 2015 had a really nice rookie year, but we didn't know if he was going to be a true number one receiver, right? Adam Thielen still really hadn't taken a next step. He showed flashes. And I think there was a lot of expectations on Treadwell to come in and be a number one wide receiver right away. Where this year, Adam Thielen is obviously the Vikings' number one receiver. Justin Jefferson could slide into a slot and be the number two guy. But with BC Johnson having a nice rookie season, Irv Smith and Kyle Rudolph still being capable tight ends, I feel like the pressure is off for Jefferson to step in and, like, not to say he won't contribute in 2020, but the pressure for him to contribute right away is a little bit more lax in that sense.
And the stats in 2019 for this kid were certainly impressive. As I said before, he led the country in catches, 111 receptions. He was second in the nation with 18 receiving touchdowns and third in the nation with 1,540 receiving yards. Here's what I really like, though. And the problem with Treadwell and Patterson is, and Cordero Patterson is 10 times the athlete that Treadwell was, okay? But the problem, the commonality that they shared between them was they both lacked the ability to know how to run a route, which is a huge problem. Like that's why I hate when GMs talk about speed. Speed is such a surface level. Oh, he's got speed. Well, that's great if he's going to be a rover. Like, if you're going to tell him, I don't really care what you do. Like, we're going to give you the football and go have fun. Like, if you could tell your coaches, never talk to us about strategy and we're just going to go have fun. We're going to play outdoor, we're going to play schoolyard football. But, okay, speed's great. And you're fast, which means you're good at track and field, which, by the way, I don't care about. So, Treadwell and Cordero had speed, but they couldn't run routes. The thing about Jefferson that I read that I like, and again, to be clear, just quickly here, let's be clear. The first round just got done, okay? Two rounds tonight. That by the way, Score North will be here. It'll be Collar and myself throughout the evening talking about those 2 rounds, and then the conclusion of the draft on Saturday. But trying to grade this thing now or pass judgments, it was fun last night in sports. Sports. Whenever sports comes back now, I'm not gonna bash it, Declan. I'm gonna tell you I'm very excited by it. But we don't know a thing yet. But what I like that I read about Jefferson is the fact that last year, playing for LSU, the national champion, 2019, 110 of his 111 catches came from the slot and resulted in 17 of his 18 touchdowns. Jefferson, according to Cronin, told the reporters last night that was the first year, Declan, that he has played the slot consistently. All right? Because before that, he played outside. Now, a lot of guys can play outside. And again, that gets back to, if you're a great athlete and you play outside in college, guess what's going to happen? You're going to look really good because you're playing against college players who are nice players, but they're not pro players. But as far as the intricate routes that guys must run, as far as what guys must be prepared to do in being not athletes, but football players, complete players, Jefferson has experience in the slot. He has experience outside. And according to what Collar was talking about on our draft coverage show last night with Matthew and Mackey, which was outstanding stuff for Matthew. Jefferson is a smart player who knows how to run routes. That is incredibly important. Because if you just come in and talk about your blazing speed and how great of an athlete that you are, that does not spell National Football League success. What does is being able to play the game as a receiver by running routes that your quarterback needs. Because if you're not at the right place, my guess is, because Kirk is not Brett Favre, he's not Mr. Improvise, right? So he's not Mr. Oh, yeah, you ran 8.5 yards instead of 9. Ain't that cute? Here's the ball. Kirk's like, well, hold on a second. You're supposed to run 9 yards. So the encouraging thing, and I use that word carefully here, but the encouraging thing, without having seen Justin Jefferson put on a Vikings jersey yet, is it sounds like the Vikings got a receiver who's going to know what he's doing from the outset. Doesn't mean he's going to be a polished product, but Treadwell and Patterson never, ever had the potential to be polished products. This kid might. I believe we're going to go to our sports son and a Declan sports brother. Nick, what's going on?
What's up, sports dad, sports bro?
Big night last night.
Great night. Great coverage. Had it in the ear.
Thanks, man.
The whole time. Yeah, I mean, just a great start to the day. Gonna go and hit 18 and have Score North coverage of, the review of the draft in my ear the whole time. Declan Q. the Gallahorn. I believe I called yesterday and said,
I got it.
Jefferson. There we go. Justin Jefferson, the stud he is. Like I said, I was a little surprised he wasn't considered even the best or close to the best, because Ruggs and Judy benefit off each other so much. The Duke ball.
Sure.
Now with Gladney, and I'm pretty sure I said one of the physical corners. Now, whatever, I don't think I hit on the name, but Gladney on some people's boards in the reviews I saw yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He was some people's second-rated corner. Now, the knock was just because he was 5'10". So I watched the tape. This is such a Zimmer quarterback, feisty, bulldog, get after the ball. So great to see. Now, the other thing is, I'm pretty sure I said we're going to grab Trent Williams as well.
There you go, Nick.
I can't hear enough of it. Trent Williams, we're going to grab him. What I want to see tonight is move some capital and move up to get Xavier McKinney or Antoine Winfield Jr. That would be a home run. Best thing I saw last night, I will echo Ben's call. Jordan Love is not going to be a good quarterback. The Green Bay Packers just picked their first offensive player since they picked Aaron Rodgers. This is laughable. This is great. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Nick. Look at Nick. Nick, hold on a
Always
second.
the best.
Hold on a second. I'll do it again. I'll give him the.